He's loved by everyone. His smile, fashion, warmth, discipline, and amazing sense of humor sets him apart amongst numerous entertainers. Called to the Nigerian bar over 15 years ago, this ageless, always hip, multi-talented personality has brought joy to homes globally. He's an actor, producer, director, and statesman, amongst other things. His name is no stranger in your homes, and it rings a bell in the entertainment industry. He needs no further introduction. Please join me as we make welcome Richard Mofe-Damijo, or you may call him RMD. Please, he deserves some more. Let's keep it going until he gets here.
Thank you. For legal things, I try to be careful so I don't step out of line too much. So I'm just going to casually read some of the things that we have written here. Mr. President, if he's here, or his representative, our bigwigs here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen at the bar, the Lady Justice production team, my fellow hosts, our great musical acts here present, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give a great welcome to the Bigwig unveiling today. How many already know about Bigwig here? Okay, oh, good, okay. The very moment that the Lady Justice production team first approached me about the Bigwig project, I found deep resonance, or at least I connected with it, because, you know, there are lots of bigwigs that I had admired all my life, and just having a chance to be able to be with them was something I could look forward to. I also started thinking of all the difficulties in finding my own personal path in law, the various tempting options, and how I wished I could have sat down with someone, or I can sit down with someone, someone successful, talented, creative, respectable, extraordinary, from whom to draw inspiration from. I had no such opportunity. Many of us never had the opportunity. And even for a few of us who had the privilege of personal or occasional interactions with those great lawyers, we hardly could think of the right questions to ask or find a relaxing situation to get the most out of. Bigwig is a legal documentary that has been masterfully, crafted to fill the void that has been created. It has provided the mentor we all needed in a cool, classy, respectable manner that everyone will be proud of. You're all familiar with that response that we always get upon introduced as lawyers. Oh, now I can look for trouble. Really? Can you? The truth is that the society has come to see lawyers and lawyering in the extremely limiting stethoscope of litigation. Many legal systems have reinforced this stereotype, building the reward for excellence and professional privileges around it. Even Nollywood, yes, has added to the confusion. After all, I participated in Castle and Castle, and we litigated a lot in there. Lawyers do not belong in a box. In fact, there is no box in the legal profession. Putting us in a box and labeling us is the surest way to destroy our potentials, smother our passion, undermine our creativity, and blind us against our dreams. The Bigwig Project is a cultural initiative that was ingeniously crafted from the lives, passion, and achievements of regular human beings who turned themselves into extraordinary lawyers. All the Bigwig projects want you to believe at the end of it all is that you too can do it. Bigwig is a legal docuseries showcasing lawyers in their niche law practice who have achieved extensive career milestones in various non-traditional areas of law practice. This media project features a number of outstanding corporate commercial lawyers, including the amiable Chief Chris Ogunbanjo, who is easily considered by many of the forefathers to be the father of this style of legal practice. Quite a number of the bigwigs have attested to how their earlier encounter or inspiration from Chief Chris Ogunbanjo led them to defiantly design and implement a life in corporate commercial law practice. The Bigwig Show journeys with these incredible lawyers through their lives, careers, and law firm development, from the firm's founding to the gigantic global legal brands we see them today. I know the next question that comes to mind is, what qualifies one to be a bigwig? And how were these bigwigs chosen for the show? Credit must go to the designers of the Bigwig project for coming up with a system of selection that embedded a peer-to-peer recommendation policy. In that way, the idea is that anyone would apply or ask to be named or nominated for the show was totally eliminated. It became a completely merit-based process, where those who are recommended are highly respected by fellow bigwigs themselves. How was this achieved? Those who designed the show first came up with the two most undeniably obvious bigwigs, George Etomi for male and Dr. Maima Bello Osage for female. Thereafter, each was asked at the end of their interview to recommend who they consider to be bigwigs, and their recommendations transformed into what we have produced as the first season of the show. In the course of the production, practically every bigwig interviewed mentioned a direct or indirect influence from a certain Chief Chris Ogunbanjo, who forced the team to develop a special episode in honor of the man entitled the Forefather episode. At this point, let me pause and let you meet our bigwigs. Please watch the screen.
Here are the bigwigs. George Etomi, Principal Partner, George Etomi and Partners. Aswe Igodalu, Co-Founder, Banwo and Igodalu. Maima Bello Osagi, Long-Term Managing Partner, now of Counsel, Udo Udoma and Bello Osagi. Ayuli Jemide, Lead Partner, Detailed Solicitors. Mfong Usoro, Managing Partner, Paul Usoro and Co. Kim Shegu, Managing Partner, Denton's ACAS Law. Soji Awobade, Founding Partner, Alex Law. Chris Okeke, Co-Founder, Ajumogobia and Okeke. Ogogo Akpata, Managing Partner, Templars. As the show's policy is to include every president of the NBA who is in office while the docuseries is produced, the current president of the NBA, Olumide Akpata. Practically every bigwig interviewed mentioned a direct or indirect influence from Chief Chris Ogunbanjo, which forced the team to develop a special episode in honor of the man entitled the Forefather episode, featuring Chief Chris Ogunbanjo, Founder, Chris Ogunbanjo and Co. Chief Sobomi Balogun Otumba, Founder, First City Monument Bank. Dr. Michael Omolayole, First Indigenous MD, CEO, Lever Brother Nigeria. Senator Udo Udoma, Founder, now of council, Udo Udoma and Bello Osagi, Senator Ladipo Odujire, co-founder Odujire and Adefulu, Senator Tokumbo Ogunbanjo and Bimbo Ogunbanjo, Managing Partner Chris Ogunbanjo, LLP. The Bigwigs.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
Hello and welcome to Bigwig.
So, just to round up, Bigwig seeks to inspire change in the way that the practice of law is viewed by inviting everyone, especially young lawyers, to embrace the fluid nature of law and the ability of lawyers to tailor law practice to address any challenge faced by society. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to many other things you can be in society and in your professional circle, I welcome you to the rare and enchanting opportunity of becoming a bigwig. I hosted most of the sessions on this docuseries alongside my colleagues who are also lawyers in the entertainment industry. Ebuka, Obi-Uchendu. Yeah, you can clap, it's okay. And of course, Koye, Kekere, Ekun. Yeah, my fellow host. The Bigwig EP comprises original musical production by the man I call small motor but big engine, MI Abaga. Kala and Erife, who is also an entertainment and an intellectual property lawyer himself. The video you're about to watch is just a teaser of what you're to expect from the docuseries Bigwig. You should follow us on all social media platforms at Bigwig Series. Okay, at Bigwig Series for updates on events, competitions, and final release dates of the Bigwig series. Basil, is the musical performance happening? No? Is it? Oh, okay. All right. So before we take a sneak peek at the first thing that we're supposed to see, let's enjoy a musical performance of another of the Bigwig song composed by an iconic rapper and songwriter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Just in case you don't see it, let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you who's really making moves out here. It's the Bigwigs. Yeah. I took a different path, a different road. After I studied the craft and learned the code, and my experience hasn't been told. So here I stand before you, my life's work exposed. Yeah, call me a bigwig, I'm with the bigwigs, yeah, we doing big things, yeah, we are the bigwigs, See, when it gets to conflict, justice has to be blind. But before that conflict, justice can help you guide. That's what I do. I take dreams and give them flight. I'm a bigwig. I shape industry with my mind. And I do things differently from the rest. But see the swag, see the impact, the legacy, see the checks. The system doesn't recognize or give me respect. But I'm a bigwig. I just do it better than do it best, yeah. And all over the nation, you can see the impact that we create in incubating innovation. Bigwigs, I don't spend time in litigation, no. See, I build a structure for situations. Bigwig, watch what I do and how I do it. See, I can work in any industry and have influence. Lady Justice right by my side, I am the steward. Bigwigs doing big things, you already know it, yeah. I took a different path, a different road. After I studied the craft and learned the code, and my experience hasn't been told. So here I stand before you, my life's work exposed. Yeah, call me a bigwig, I'm with the bigwigs, yeah, we doing big things, yeah, we are the bigwigs, If you wanna be a bigwig, well let me show you. You ain't gotta follow tradition for them to know you. You don't have to step into courtrooms and cover cases. You can help people follow the law before they break it. Normally, Lady Justice is blindfolded. She has a sword she's holding, so she can be fair to all men. That is the principle of justice, that judgment should be fair. It should apply to those deserving, its justice should be clear. But through the big wigs, Lady Justice opens her eyes. To help you see a better path, she drops a sword to the side. And many people think the laws are made for after we quarrel. But a bigwig says, what if we don't quarrel at all? Yeah, I took a different path, a different road. After I studied the craft to learn the code. And my experience hasn't been told. So here I stand before you, my lights were exposed. Yeah, call me a bigwig, I'm with the bigwigs, yeah, we doing big things, yeah, we are the bigwigs, Lady Justice, I see you. Thank you for making an exception for the bigwigs, yeah.
I would tell you that for many of us, some of the areas of law we find ourselves in today, we didn't even study, we didn't even know existed. At the back of my mind, I made myself one promise that whatever I do must answer to international best practice. From the get-go, I told myself that the lawyers I was going to hire were going to do their own work. Until today, there are no secretaries. If you come in, there are no secretaries in this office. You are accountable for your work. Location was also going to be important. If I were going to attract the type of clientele I was thinking about, I was still in my 20s, late 20s at the time. I had to be visible. I was living in Surulere at the time. And some people say, oh, why don't you just convert one room in your house? I said, that's not my thinking. So we've got one on number 16 Alaji Konike, close Southwest Koye. And I think if records don't fail me, it was perhaps the first commercial law firm in Koye.
Oh my God.
I targeted a market that was at that time the exclusive, almost preserve of expatriates. If you're going to deal in that market, the minimum you owed yourself and your client was to be at least be let into the room. And your appearance was just as important as the substance you carried. And thankfully, with the background of Chris Ogunbanjo and Co., I crossed one crucible easy, which was he must know something.
I actually started out life as a litigator. I wanted to be a litigator. My aspiration was to probably be a senior advocate at a very young age. Litigation is a calling, in a way, it's a calling. If the environment permitted, yes, I would have been a litigator. You know, I think there's scope for brilliant litigators. When I first started practice, you know, I used to be enamored by, I used to watch Harry Lardner, you know, Chioke Ajayi, Chief Williams, you know, they're the way, their ability to think on their feet, the way they analyzed and argued, you know. So I really looked forward, and when I was young, you know, there was this legal series, Perry Mason. That was one of my favorite TV shows, Perry Mason, and I loved it. And so at the back of my mind, you know, I used to see lawyers like Perry Mason, you know, and things like that. And a few years ago, you know, funnily enough, there's a Justice of the Supreme Court that's my very good friend, and she was telling me that that's why I think you should come back into litigation. And I actually thought about it
for a second.
And it came, you know, what just stopped me was I had to balance my life today. If you're going to be an out and out litigator, you're not going to have much time for the corporate side of life. So at that time I was on about 8 boards. Whoa. I was chairman of 4 of the boards, you know, that I had to give all of that up, or a chunk of that, to be able to come back to be a successful litigator. Because litigation is body and soul. It's truly body and soul.
It's a calling.
It's a calling. It's truly body and soul. And so I wouldn't have been able to have the life I'd already gotten accustomed to. As a corporate lawyer, I can combine those things with my corporate work easier than as a litigator. I wanted to be a good lawyer, I wanted to be successful, and more importantly, I also wanted to build a firm that will outlive me and will sustain, that other people will be better than me in the firm and take to greater heights. So to do that, you needed to work so hard that it'll hurt. And you needed to be clear that you are not going to be greedy. You couldn't afford to do that and be greedy. So yes, we'll put in the hours, and to be good at anything, you need to put in, I'm sure you've put in more than 10,000 hours acting. And to be a great actor as you are, there's the 10,000 hour rule.
It's funny, I've never thought that a corporate lawyer has to be a litigator. It can help, but you definitely don't have to be. I like to see everybody have the ability to fulfill their potential. Potential will never be the same. Just make the best of everything you have, but just keep building on all the potential that you have. And, your version of success will always be your own version, but whatever it is, strive for it. I think a lot of people are doing law, but I don't know if they're staying in, because we have so many young men come in and they take off to do business or set up their own law firms, which is fine, and then move on to do politics and so on and so forth. So I'm a little bit curious to see whether this is in fact, whether my sense is correct. I guess in a sense, I would say I'm a better corporate mentor than I am an individual one. Mentorship can be in many shapes and forms. So clearly when I was in the firm, I like to think that I mentored some of my female associates and so on and so forth, and to the extent that many of my partners are now female, I think I'd like to say that I can take a little bit of credit for that. I don't know whether it's completely true or not. Decide that you want to be an expert at something and really spend your time working at it. Take the comments, take the criticism, and learn to be confident in your abilities.
I was not a science student at all. And I thought to myself, well, if you are art and social sciences inclined, the top of the range of courses to study in those days was, aspire to be a lawyer, then take it from there. I had this clear vision that, coming to start this new firm in Lagos, I wanted it to be a firm that, as partners came on organically, they could feel that this firm didn't belong to anybody, it belonged to all of us, because it didn't bear anybody's name, right? So I was looking for a generic name that will fit the bill. And the more I looked and thought and wrote and slept and woke up, nothing was coming. So I just stopped thinking about it. And honestly, one day I was driving and I just had detail. So it was me, I started in Lagos, 200 square meters of office space in Bull Plaza in Marina, and people came in there and they looked at the 200 square meters and they said, when are you going to show this place? Because it was just me, one youth corper and one support staff. My goal was always to grow a firm organically, and I'm just someone who believes that things should grow organically, right? And after a year or two in Lagos, a few people came, they approached me and they said, why don't we merge our efforts? So I probably had about 3 to 5 conversations. Not sure if it was something I wanted to do, but somewhere along the line, the conversations either petered out or we both agreed that we couldn't work together.
Contribute our knowledge to further develop the standard of practice and to mentor as many young people as possible. A lot of things are happening now around the area of legal practice for Nigerian lawyers, vis-a-vis foreign lawyers coming into play. We just don't keep quiet and say, we are comfortable. No. We have a stake in the future of this practice, so that even though with globalization, lawyers follow their clients, it has to be negotiated in a way that it is a win-win for both Nigerian qualified legal practitioners and the foreign counsel that deliver legal services to their clients who come into doing business in Nigeria. So you bought in, you become involved in that conversation to secure for the younger ones coming behind you. Even if the environment doesn't look very attractive at this moment in terms of availability of employment or the take-home pay, the law profession is one of the professions that will be here with us forever. It's a profession that everybody needs, the society needs, the individual needs. Talking about rule of law on its own, that is not related to having to do a transaction for purposes of making pecuniary gains. But the society needs the law, and the lawyers are the ones who advocate those values of society. So there will always be work for lawyers.
I tell people that everything that's happened to me has happened because of the law. Has happened because clients came into the firm, recognized what I was doing, recognized that I was good material for sitting on boards, and so will I walk away from that thing that actually set me up for the future? The answer is no. And I've spent a lot of time mentoring and talking to people about opportunities and sitting on boards. And what I say to them, my standard line is, be the best at what you are doing. People recognize you for being the best at what you do. They don't recognize you as being a director material on the board. They recognize you as being, it's a great lawyer, he's a great consultant, he's good at what he does, he has people skills. And then they take a look at the board and say, we're looking for an independent director. Who's that person that we want to identify? Oh, they say there's this good lawyer that they know, ethically does all the right things, great corporate lawyer, great litigator. They say, oh, by the way, we do have an opening for that kind of person on our board. So you don't go out there saying to your advertising to say that, oh, I want to sit on boards. But if you are great at what you are doing, actually that recognition will come, and you'll be surprised at how many boards you get invited to sit on. The lawyers I respect the most are people who have both skills, an ability to do litigation, an ability to come into a corporate meeting and engage the same way that some of us who, that's all we do. And so if I had to redo it all over again, I actually wouldn't leave litigation that quickly. I would have stayed. Doesn't mean that I'll continue it, but I think that a deeper understanding of how litigation affects, litigation strategy, for instance, affects what we do on the corporate commercial side of a firm, so that you don't quickly rush to judgment.
Going into practice, I did start off, for a few years going to court, but it's absolutely nothing like what you see on TV. When you're a litigator, it's not just about getting up and going to court. There are lots of rules and regulations which you need to abide by, when you go to court, and you need to understand those things. You need to have them, second nature to you. And that's part of what makes an excellent litigator as well. So, beyond me having to talk about the law, go to court and, advocacy and all of that, I would also have to learn, the court rules and things. So I don't, anything that's going to seem like an exam, I don't want to go into again. So, I've made the choice. I'm supremely happy with the choice. And, this is the routes that I've chosen, and I think I will stay this way. Well, I would say to them, if you have the opportunity, practice, do the two. Do the two. If you get to a place where you want to make a decision to go either, just with litigation or solicitor's practice, commercial practice, you can do so. But not having had the opportunity to practice either one, not having had the opportunity to practice litigation, I would think that there would be something missing. I think that it's helpful, even in the way that you think as a lawyer.
Making a choice of what you are good at is a bit of self-promotion.
people should be able to tell you this is what you're good at. Today, I'm not calling myself an energy lawyer. I'm calling myself a trade lawyer. I am now paying very serious attention to international trade, especially since the African Continental Free Trade Agreement has been signed. I am a very strong advocate of that new market system, and I think it might be the key for Africa to yank itself away
from poverty.
I think good lawyers are one of some of the most knowledgeable human beings on earth. There's no sphere of human endeavor from which we're excluded. None. And to the extent that there's always another lawyer on the other side, usually, you have to be up and doing. Now that puts the lawyer on his toes all the time. And that's why we're always reading. That's why we're always finding out what's going on. Because you have to beat someone. You have to top someone. You have to trump someone. Even in a commercial transaction. Because you have to be able to slice and dice such that your client's point of view will prevail. So that you yourself will have a feel-good factor that you have made a contribution of which a check is signed. So I think it's perhaps one of the greatest professions one can be in.
I was enrolled as an articled clerk to become an accountant in England. I joined the Institute of Chartered Surveyors, and I was an intern at Knight Frank and Rutley in Hanover Square in London. All these were towards attempting to find who I was, where I wanted to be. I always, in the back of my mind, dreamt of being a lawyer, a particular kind of lawyer, which is why I read economics and business. I have absolutely no hesitation in saying of myself that I made a success of the law. I know today what I didn't know in 1982-83. I think you can aspire, you can hope, you can wish, you can dream. And as a young person, I don't know if you know, I'm honorary legal advisor to Her Majesty's government in Nigeria, and I've been since 1989.
Okay.
And the firm did a lot of work that could qualify as diplomatic related work. And as a kid, as a younger person, it was not unusual to hear me say, I would like to be Nigeria's High Commissioner to the Court of St. James. Okay. And that's where it was left. It made no effort to be anybody's High Commissioner or Ambassador. Okay. It's fair to say that it just came. It's hard to believe, because I'm not APC, I'm not PDP, so that would be a requirement normally, but yeah, it happened. I welcomed it, I embraced it with both arms.
I grew up in a legal family. My dad, my uncle had an affinity towards the legal profession. While in the law firm that I practiced in the early 90s, I felt this is what I want to do. Just extra. I mean, I saw a different perception towards practicing law, which was most exciting. I would say we've done a lot of interesting deals, but I could tell you that we did the Access Bank Diamond Bank merger, which created the largest retail bank in Africa. We always strive to do first of its kind. My partners, the lawyers at the firm, they are the ones that project me to be in that space, to be recognized. I perhaps come out as the guy that executes, but they prepare me to be recognized. So it will be unfair for me to go about thinking I'm such a superstar when they are really the stars. The smart guys are behind me. And as I say to everyone, I never hire anyone or in Templars that is not smarter than me. I am part of the team, one of 15 partners, right? Templars does not run with me. That has been a long time, that has passed. Templars runs without me. There are times I'm not in the country for 2 months. and the firm is doing very well.
Bigwig as a concept, the way I understand it, I think it's timely. We are at a time where we must highlight the fact that there is more to law than courtroom advocacy. And so for me, when I heard of the concept, the Bigwig concept, it was for me it was an aha moment.
This law practice, Chris Ogunbanjo and Co.
Chris Ogunbanjo and Co.
Well, in a sense, that was done for me because Senator Odoma was at Chris Ogunbanjo briefly.
I have one name that always stands out, Chief Chris Ogunbanjo.
You cannot talk about commercial law practice in Nigeria without talking about Chief Ogunbanjo.
My father was a reverend.
Yes.
And he wanted to have a child who is a lawyer.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That was how I went to London in 1950.
Okay.
And I went by boat.
There are lawyers who sit in their office and people come to them to seek their legal advice. Chris Oladipo Ogunbanjo was a pioneer of this type of practice. I started my career as a lawyer. Much of the fortune and the success I have today can be related to Chris Ogunbanjo.
He happened to be he had decided against the run of play with all the other lawyers of his time who were into litigation and so on and so forth. But he went into commercial practice. So he was literally the one man standing when the whole commercial field blew up and all the expatriates were leaving.
The first time I heard about him as a person was in 1950. He had qualified as a lawyer, and he will be the first lawyer from the mother's community. By the time Nigerianization came, he was already well prepared and well positioned to take advantage of it.
And as far as commercial legal practice was concerned, there was a consensus that Chief Christopher Ogunbanjo was really the doyen, which was why I was intrigued by him. And I mentioned his name to my father, who was then in the Supreme Court. And my father confirmed that he was somebody of impeccable reputation, impeccable integrity.
I had left before the institution decree, but the part that was active when I was there was when we were starting the stock exchange. And it was a new thing here. We had to do prospectuses, and nobody had done it here before. So Chief and Mr. Gamalelo Nosode had to go to England to see how these things were done. And at that time, new issues, programs were new, were just coming up. So every issue you see, so the issue, Chris Ogunbanjo. So really, he was like the father of the legal section of the capital market at the time.
Well, I think you'll find that most, in fact, literally 90% of them who passed through the firm merely emulated his style. It wasn't something that he would call you and teach you. Once you have the desire to learn, you gravitate towards him and you'll pick it up. So the Igodalos of this world, the Domas of this world, the Etomis of this world, they all learned from him in that way.
So here I stand before you, my life's work exposed. Yeah, call me a bigwig, I'm with the bigwigs, yeah, we doing big things, yeah, we are the bigwigs, If you wanna be a bigwig, well let me show you. You ain't gotta follow tradition for them to know you. You don't have to step into courtrooms and cover cases. You can help people follow the law before they break it. Normally, Lady Justice is blindfolded. She has a sword she's holding, so she can be fair to all men. That is the principle of justice, that judgment should be fair. It should apply to those deserving, this justice should be clear. But through the big wigs, Lady Justice opens her eyes. To help you see a better path, she drops a sword to the side. And many people think the laws are made for after we quarrel. But a Bigwig says, what if we don't quarrel at all? Yeah, I took a different path, a different road. After I studied the craft to learn the code. And my experience hasn't been told. So here I stand before you, my life you were exposed. Yeah, call me
She's crying. I'm not crying.
I'm with the big wigs, yeah, we're doing big wigs, yeah, we are the big wigs, Lady Justice, I see you. Thank you for making an exception for the big wigs, yeah.
It was such a privilege to be in the company or in the presence of these people. And what is encouraging is, like they say from little acorns, big trees grow. There are so many big wigs here today. In this conference, when I was walking in here today, just seeing the amount of lawyers all over the place. So I was just seeing big wigs. Big wigs. I'm sure there are lots of big wigs here today. So some of us went into law because we saw big wigs, because we saw people that we could emulate, because we saw that our lives could transform just, trying to be like these people. We will meet some of them that are here with us today in our presence. But just to know that the journey towards discovering a lot more big wigs only just started. One more time, a round of applause for all the big wigs that you saw today. There is a lot more coming from the organizers of Big Wigs. Just to let you know that there is going to be an essay competition. It is called, the topic of the competition is Law and the Future of Money. Will technology eliminate banking? Reminds me of university days. So that's what will be on. That's what the essay will be on, the essay competition. And the law firm of Odujiri and Adefulu and Aluko and Oyebode have signified interest to sponsor. So there is plenty of money to be won with this. There will be a lot more competition that will be organized. So all you need to do is follow us on all social media platforms, and information regarding the competitions and the prize monies and all of that you will find as we go along. For some bit of more entertainment, it is my pleasure at this time to introduce on stage Kala. Round of applause for him, please.
Person wey no carry something, no dey throw away something. I've got nothing to lose, just here to enjoy the cruise. DJ put it on repeat, make my people them move them feet. Askala dey here, make all my people them way dey here, make we jam. Jam to the early mama, straight to the early mama. I say make we jam. Jam to the early mama. It's your boy Kala. Greetings to all the big wigs. Big shout out to you guys. The guy standing before you was born as or is born as Justice Smog. You know, so growing up as a boy, I had this my uncle. He would always come around and he calls me Chief Judge. So one day I went to my dad and I wanted to know the meaning of Chief Judge. Then my dad told me, you know, as a boy, that the meaning of Chief Judge, it's a very big lawyer in a court that decides the... Sorry, DJ, sorry. So, a very big lawyer that decides the fate of people who goes home and who goes to jail. So from that day, I made that decision that I want to be a chief judge. Then, so unfortunately for me, my dad died on the same year I wrote my common entrance. So I had to stay home for 2 years for my elder brothers, like 2 of them, to pass out before I could go into secondary school. It was a difficult time for me, my family, you know. So when I see the bigwigs, I see a missing part of me. When I see the bigwigs, I see the picture of a man I've always wanted to be. But I'm happy to be among you guys today, you know. You guys don't adopt me now. That's why I'm here. If you don't adopt me, why am I here? So that's why I say, the team be say, as you they hustle them, they see you as the trouble and they don't want to look your face. The team be say, now me they run things so.
Yeah. We making great moves,
big moves, yeah. I'm a lawyer, I love the practice, so my daily moves, nothing but magic, oh. I'm a lawyer, but I don't even go to court. My daily moves, nothing but magic, oh. Nothing but magic, oh. Listen, a lawyer can be creative, he can even make you a native. A lawyer can rap or sing, in fact, a lawyer can do anything. I'm a bigwig, being in my own league, yeah. Can even notice,
run down the moves.
I got this, I love the practice, my daily moves, nothing but magic, I'm a lawyer,
but I don't even go to court.
My daily moves, nothing but magic, nothing but magic,
I'm a lawyer with the sauce.
A lawyer with a different kind of business to discuss. Innovative lawyer, now every day I did enforce. No jokes, please. Now me the bigwig, and my winning every week, yeah. Cause I'm into big things,
and I'm doing great things,
but this got me getting leg over.
Coming professionally we take over.
Can I miss that so? I love the practice, so my daily moves, nothing but magic, I'm a lawyer,
but I don't even go to court.
My daily moves, nothing but magic, nothing but magic, We know they panic for here, as I tell you, make it enter your ear. We don't we know they fear. Now we be big wigs, share you here.
It's your boy Kala. Shout out to all the big wigs doing great.
Big thanks to all the big wigs.
I love the practice.
It's good to see you guys.
Nothing but magic. I love the practice.
Put your hands together for Kala once again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Wariboko. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to go straight up to unveil the winners of our Big Wig competition. Leading up to this Big Wig unveiling, we had our online competition for a very, very nice topic titled, "We Are Not Gentlemen in Skirts, but Ladies in the Legal Profession." Now, a lot of ladies jumped on this challenge and then did videos and then did tweets, and then we said a very quick thing. Anyone with the highest likes, highest engagement, goes home with 100,000 naira. And it was sponsored by our bigwig, one of our bigwigs, Mrs. Umfon Usoro. Please put your hands together for her. So 5 winners emerged, which is 100,000 naira apiece. So I'll just announce the winners briefly, and then after now we'll do a follow-up on them. The first winner is Radiance Onu Abuja branch from IG. The next winner is Kehinde Oyebade from Lagos branch, and it was on Twitter. The next winner, which is the third person, is Anaja Dokas from Abuja branch. Put your hands together for them, please. And that's from Twitter. And then we have Precious Maduwane from Lagos branch. Put your hands together for her, and that's on IG. And then the last on the list, which is the 5th winner, is Awese Iyacho, Abuja branch, and that's on Twitter. Put your hands together for all the winners. So all the winners, because of time, we don't want to do all those ceremony of bringing you up. We'll communicate with you and then send you your cash gift. Right about now, we're going to move on to the next segment of this show. A very special performance by someone special. Everyone, please put your hands together for that someone special. Come on now, put your hands together for them. Come on now, put your hands together for them, please. Put your hands together.
I am blindfolded with a sword and scale in my hands. Yeah, typical lady justice to balance the guilt and innocence. My advocate of peace, in and out of the courtroom. You've had your own share of hard work and honor. You've had your own share of hard work and honor. But a new dawn is now upon us to strike real balance in fairness to Bigwigs. So I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I am blindfolded with a sword and scale in my hand. A typical lady justice to balance the guilt and innocence. My advocates of peace, in and out of the courtroom. You've had your own share of hard work and honor. You've had your own share of hard work and honor. But I didn't notice, and only to get us doing wonders. With a profession and passion and talent changing the narrative. I didn't notice, and only to get us doing wonders. With a profession and passion and talent changing the narrative. But a new dawn is now upon us to strike real balance in fairness to Bigwig. So I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I see you big wigs, lawyers in niche law practice. I see your head high, confident, strong minds, resilient, changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. I'm Lady Justice, mother of justice and fairness. I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now. I am Lady Justice, mother of justice and fairness. I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now. I see you big wigs. You are the real deal. You're not just big, but you are the real deal. I see you big wigs. You are the real deal. You're not just big, but you are the big deal. You're fairness to big wigs with wings of ego. I make my exception, my big wigs exception. You're fairness to big wigs with wings of ego. I make my exception, my big wigs exception. So I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I see you big wigs, lawyers in niche law practice. I see your head high, confident, strong minds, resilient, changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. So I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I see you big wigs, lawyers in niche law practice. I see your head high, confident, strong minds, resilient, changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. So I drop my sword like rain, drop my scale with wisdom, uncovered my eyes. I can see clearly now. I see you big wigs, lawyers in niche law practice. I see your head high, confident, strong minds, resilient, changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Ashezi another round of applause. So that was just a sneak peek of the Bigwig docuseries. The premiere of Bigwig will happen in the course of the year, But from January through to December of 2023, every month, there will be one full episode of the Bigwig series. And in between episodes, there'll be events, competitions, so please follow us on all of our social media platforms. Stay tuned. And now I'd like to recognize all of the bigwigs in the house. So in June of 2022, it marked 20 years since I was called to the bar. And all of these bigwigs remain a huge inspiration to me. Starting with, and as I call out the bigwigs, I'd like for you to stand so that we can properly acknowledge you and thank you for everything you have done in the legal profession, and as you continue to inspire, because I'm sure there are many. How many people in this room aspire to be bigwigs? Particularly, not just with a wave of hands, a round of applause for these bigwigs. And as I call them and they stand, I'd like for you, with a thunderous applause, to thank them and acknowledge them for their contribution to our noble profession. Mr. George Etomi. Mrs. Maima Bello Osage. Mr. Ayuli Jemide, who I believe is also the chairman of the section on business law of the MBA. Mr. Soji Awogbade. Mr. Chris Okeke. Mr. Ogogo Akpata. And a big wig himself, a very big wig. He's done many things across spheres. A big wig himself, but representing his father, who is the forefather of corporate commercial practice in Nigeria, Mr. Bimbo Ogunbanjo. Now, I think the old, Mr. Ogunbanjo, please stand. I think the old man who is unable to be here today, as if I'm correct, he'll soon be 100 years old. He's 99. Well, that's near 100, actually. Yes. So I think that as he has inspired a generation, many generations of bigwigs, I think we owe him a standing ovation. And as everyone sits, can I invite all of the bigwigs standing to please come up on stage just for a photo session. And as they come, a thunderous applause. I think you can keep standing. There is a lawyer amongst us. He calls himself a tech lawyer. He is a foremost tech lawyer. He's the founder of this docuseries, the producer. And I think he's done a marvelous job because he's set these people apart so we can celebrate and distinguish them. It is not only when you are a senior advocate of Nigeria that you should be celebrated. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Basil Udotai to come and take a photo with the big wigs. Please give him a rapturous applause. Basil is very shy, so encourage him. Thank you, Basil. You know know what they say about when you want to leave legacy for your children. I have to join this picture. Thank you very much, Bigwigs.